Hey everybody, I'm not making a driving video today, I'm making a biking video today. Maybe those of you will think this is safer. So I don't know what time it is, maybe 8:30 on a beautiful summer evening. I think it's June 14th. And thinking about some things. I'm thinking about how life takes twists and turns and up and downs, and you plan for something and then plans don't go according to plan. Then you know, what's God, what's God's meaning in this and purpose, and is it something I did? And there's this spiritual battle of lies versus truth in your head. One of the things I was thinking of is comparing it to just this physical aspect of biking. But I'm going to compare it to a different experience I had. When I was about 30 years old, I lived in southern New Mexico, and I became a sponsor or teacher, helper for this wilderness club. And wonderful man, Russ Richards, was the leader of it, and he talked me into being involved. And we got to do some great things, whitewater rafting, and went down to Puerto Penasco in the Baja, Mexico, and got to do some like low tide animal type of marine things. Anyway, in the fall of every year, he would take a group up to hike to the very tip of the Oregon Mountains called the Needles. If you were to see it, well, you could Google it. Needles, Oregon Mountains, Las Cruces, New Mexico. It's beautiful, beautiful. And since I'd lived out there a few years, I realized how beautiful it was, and I thought to myself, man, to get to the top of that and to look out over the city and the desert, beautiful, beautiful. But I knew that it would be something that would be really hard for me to do physically. So I was turning 30, and I thought to myself, this would be really cool if age 30 I could do this, you know? Last go round for Jamel. And it's one of those things where you have to get up ridiculously early and get started early, because it can take 13 hours there and back. So I don't know what time in the morning we got started, sun up, and starts out easy. It's not real steep. I don't know how many of us there are, but we get to like a halfway point where if you don't think you can make the summit, then you got to stop, because once you start the last half, there's no turning back. You can't get up there and quit. And I mean, no one can come save you unless they do it by helicopter. So you're kind of at that point where you got to go for it or you're not. And I mean, I was sore and I was hurting, but I thought, this is like once in a lifetime. Like, I have to do it. This is it. So I said, I'm doing it. And we didn't have any mountain climbing gear. I'm not really sure how safe it was. There was times that you were holding on to things and the person in front of you had to help you up, and in my case, sometimes the people behind me had to push my butt up. But I remember getting there, the top, and like, yes, it was beautiful. It was so worth it. The exhilaration, the euphoric feeling of being there, knowing you'd made it. Maybe some of you have had mountaintop experiences where you've had to work really hard when you achieved. This was awesome. Like, you couldn't get any closer to God than that experience. Funny thing, nothing lives at the top of that mountain. Nothing, no human, no animal. Wasn't really any room. It was really a rocky, if you look at the picture, it's just rocky, pointed rocks on top. Barely enough room for someone to sit. So you have to come back down. You can't live there. You don't live in that euphoric state. You got to go back down. You know what's interesting is the trek down the mountain was ridiculously more painful than the trek up. Oh my gosh. And once again, you can't like wave the white surrender flag and give up, because who's going to, no one's going to carry you down unless you're, I guess, injured, but you have to go down. You can't give up and say, nope, I'm not doing it. Call in a helicopter. There were times that I would rest, and fleeting thoughts of giving up, even though you knew it wasn't realistic, would go through my head. And there was a team of people, we went with a team and a group, and mainly teenagers, and they would be like, you can do it, Mrs. G, you can do it. Don't give up, you can do it. We believe in you. And I was the last one down the mountain. I was so sore, I couldn't even hardly sit on a toilet for 2 days. So you came back down to the mountain, from the mountain, and you lived in the desert, in the valley. And I think like how much that's so close to real life. There's times that we work really hard, and like we know the plan and we know the goal, and we know it's what we're supposed to do. And we get there, or we get close, and you have euphoric moments. But in some ways, well, and they're fleeting. They don't last forever. You have to come back off that high, and you have to take the treacherous road back down the mountain, and you live in the valley. Sometimes you live in the desert where it's a dry wasteland. If you're lucky enough to live in the valley by the river, where there's a water source, it's green and luscious. So I guess my point is that, God's with you on the trek up. At times he gives us visions, and like we think this is our purpose, this is our plan for our lives. And we do the hard work to get there and to do what we believe God's called us to do. But like I tell people, man, it's a journey. You might think God's called you to do this, and like later on he's called you to do this, and later on he's called you to do this, and then, for me that's been the case. When you have euphoric moments at the top, and then all of a sudden you're on the way down the mountain. You're like, whoa, what happened? I thought this is where I was supposed to be. And it's not. God says, no, that euphoric moment's over. It's time to come down. Come down off the mountain, and I know it's going to be tough. It's going to hurt. I'm with you. And look around, Jamel, because I have put people there with you on that journey back down the mountain, cheering you on. And then you got to walk through the desert, the dry wasteland, where there's scorpions and rattlesnakes and tarantulas out to get you. People persecuting you, people, negativity, suffering. And just like he says in James, but you see, that's testing you, and that's growing your faith, and that's growing your character. Because then on the other side of the desert is the valley, the living water. And really in the desert there's water there too, you just don't see it. It's hidden. It's hidden in cactus. So he's always there. He's always there. So no matter what stage in life you are in, and I've experienced all of it, and right now I'm coming down off a mountain and starting to trek through the desert. Man, let me tell you, those bites and those stings hurt. And sometimes you trip up and you fall on a cactus. No joke, I've done that. It really hurts. But the key thing is I've done it before. And I know that on the other side of this, and through this, there's living water. And even on the other side of that, there's going to be another mountain to climb. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. But I have assurance because of God's word that there's going to be a mountain to climb. Don't give up. Hang in there. Read Isaiah 43 and he'll take you through all of it and he'll reassure you that he's with you. And there's a few of us that have been on this journey before. And I'll give you any words of encouragement I can. God bless you.